Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your ever-loving host, Chelsea. And today, as for most of this week, I'm going to be reviewing things at least twice a day. And I'm probably going to be going for stuff that looks like it's going to sell out quickly. Like Moonlight last night. We've literally got no left already, and it's brand new comic book day today. The same can be said of Siphon. Now, I don't know if this is basically because one of the writers on it, Ashraf, has basically been quite famous. He's done another novel, which is currently on the way out, or maybe it's because Image Comics have been really pushing it. I don't entirely know, but I ordered a couple of copies thinking I'll give it a shot, and both have been claimed before the store even opened this morning. So I basically grabbed one of them, give it a quick read, and tell you what I think about it. And I'm going to talk about the artwork first, because it is surprisingly immaculate. First kind of double-page spread you get here. There's absolutely no way you're going to get a sense of why I love this so much just from a picture on a screen, unfortunately. It's just, you're not going to get the sense of detail that I'm going to get. But it is quite wonderful. There is just a movement going on here, and the lighting and the colouring and everything put together, some fantastic inking. The way all the clothes just hang off the characters, the way hair moves, everything about it is damn near perfection. And then there's this guy who almost certainly a villain. He's turned up and stabbed somebody through the back and said, she's wasting her gift by helping people. So, you're already thinking probably not a nice guy. But me personally, I just look at the fact that he's got his top buttoned up and isn't wearing a tie. I mean, come on, gentlemen, it's not easy. If top buttoned up, wear a tie. If you're wearing a tie, do your top button up. Simple sartorial stuff there, mate. Easy to solve. Clearly a villain. And what's interesting is the character design of him looks quite like the creator of this story. Because I'd never heard of Mohsen Ashraf, never heard of him at all. So I did a little bit of poking around. And he's an ex-investment banker, so, and was also writing a novel on various pantheistic deities working in some kind of shared universe, which is an interesting enough idea. And a little note of that actually comes out in this story, because it is actually about, some kind of a long lineage of people who have the ability to absorb others' pain. And when the EMT, who's the lead character in the story, fella on the cover there, when he basically finds out that he has these powers, it comes across as there is a lineage, and they do lots of different cultures which show this kind of power, including some Vikings, which is kind of cool. Not only known for absorbing pain and doing good things. And it then becomes his life with the story kind of falling to the backdrop. And it's him coping with it. He's an EMT. He wants to help people. We get from backstory that he's hurt himself. He's basically in an accident, probably drinking, because he's now teetotal. And he made the decision to actually try and help other people because an EMT saved his life. It's yeah, okay, that's kind of cool. With the ability to absorb pain and suffering, you'd think that would be kind of a cool thing. But what happens is he now senses this pain and suffering at times when he would probably be able to, as such as pretty much everyone does, kind of put up a mental block against it, or basically justify your not caring. But he can no longer do that, and it weighs him really heavily, and it looks like it's over several months, it's tearing apart his life and his relationships, until he eventually ends up in a situation where he has a chance not only to take away the suffering of somebody, but do something about the cause of the suffering. Basically, somebody just got mugged, and he manages to effectively take all of the pain and suffering absorbed and blast it into this guy's head, which is, a pretty cool superpower. And it actually took me until that point to realize this is a superhero story, which means it's probably going to have some of the tropes that I'm used to coming in there. And one of them is certainly the super villain, the guy we saw earlier, who, by the way, does look kind of like the investment banker who wrote this thing. And when you see him, he's sat on a throne with an almost knives out kind of thing behind him with lots of different blades and weapons and stuff. And it was good Lord, this is just hitting everything, bang, smack on the head. And as much as I enjoyed this comic book, and I did, the artwork is brilliant, the story is just fun. It's a nice take on a superhero kind of thing of the timeless Avenger going through generations to do good with their evil nemesis sat opposite. And yeah, great, but what it doesn't have is much subtlety. There's a bit where he meets some woman, he actually takes away her suffering, and within 4 panels he's been invited up to bed with her. There's really very little in the way of nuance here. Maybe because this guy's a novelist, he's actually got somebody else in to help him write it. Somebody basically who probably knows a little bit more about comic book form, which is always worth doing. Just look at Keanu Reeves and Matt Kint. It's if you're going to take a swing at writing a comic book, at least find a comic book writer as well. And I think the sense of like nuance and storytelling that you can do in a comic book has been just a little bit overlooked. It doesn't stop it being fun at all, and it looks beautiful, but there's just a few too many times when you're just watching what's happened play out and you're like, yep, saw that coming, or wow, that's even worse than I expected it to be. And not worse in like a terrible way, just worse in an evil way, shall I say. So yeah, if you're looking to grab on, take a look at it. You will not be disappointed, I don't think, but have some expectations. Anyway, that's it. I'm going to come back later on. There's a whole bunch of stuff to be reviewed, stuff that we've practically sold out of or about to sell out of. So hopefully I'll get through a whole bunch before it disappears. Until then, stay safe, everyone. Look after each other. Bye now.